Thanks for joining me here for this review of the TV series on Netflix called Russian Doll. Now, I saw this kind of pop up in my queue on Netflix and I was fascinated by this. The trailers kind of grabbed me immediately. I've always kind of liked Natasha Lyonne's performance in the American Pie movies, although she was very much underutilized. And in this film, she plays Nadia, a woman who essentially, every time she dies, she comes back to the same point at her 36th birthday party and continues her life again and again, can't die or doesn't die permanently. She comes back to that same point and gets to experience different aspects of her life again and again and again, see different things that could happen if she made different choices, different decisions, and how that kind of pans out for her. And I won't go into spoilers at this point, but that's essentially what happens in the majority of the show. Now, I love this show. I think this is wonderful. It's one of the most binge-worthy things that I've seen on Netflix or on any kind of TV for some time. I think probably since The End of the Effing World, which is the last thing that I got through really quickly. I got halfway through the entire season before thinking to myself, oh, actually, I really should recommend this to my wife. We should watch it together because it's that good. So I stopped to watch the whole first 4 episodes again with my wife and then finished off the series. And it's amazing. You know, we watched it in 2 nights. It's a really, really stunning, well-produced, well-constructed, well-written, great show. And I love it for that. I can't say enough about this TV show. I think it's fantastic. Now, something that's not quite so obvious about this TV show, which I thought was very interesting once you know about it, but it's not something they shout about. It's not something they made a big deal about. It's that this show is entirely directed and written by women. There are no male writers, no male directors working on the show whatsoever. And knowing that, I think it has a really interesting point of view about certain things. And I found myself thinking, okay, so what does that mean? What does that say about it? Am I being shown something that I'd only be shown from an all women's perspective? And I think there's a couple of things, but it's tiny little things. And I'm nitpicking. It's things that I wouldn't have addressed or wouldn't have thought of had I not been told that it's entirely directed and written by women. It's just a really good show. And I think the fact that it's directed and written by women is simply a testament to the fact that there are great women writers and directors out there and they can come together, make a project like this, and it's great. It's writing an interesting scenario with a very strong female lead, but who's flawed, who's fragile, and it's got a great supporting cast. So all in all, I don't think that matters. I think it's just good writing, good television. Now, I would give this show overall a 9 out of 10. It's a fab show. I thoroughly recommend that you watch it if you've got Netflix. Take the time to go have a look at it. It's so easy to get through. It's 2-3 nights and you're done with it. I really hope they don't make a sequel. I'd be kind of interested to know what happens going forward, but I love the way it ended. And if it stays where it is and it's just a one and done, it's unlikely, but I think I'd be really happy with that. I think it's great for that. So, I want to talk a little bit about spoilers for this. So, this is your warning from this point on until the end. We're talking about spoilers. So, if there's anything you don't want to know about this, if you haven't seen it, please just go back and watch it and then come back and talk about spoilers a little bit later. So, spoilers from now. Now, it turns out that Nadia, who's kind of reliving this day over and over again, who is coming back at her 36th birthday party, she has issues, or let's say history with mental health issues from her mother. And a very interesting checkered past, which is fascinating to find out about over the course of the episodes. She's not alone. There is another man by the name of Alan, and Alan is played by Charlie Barnett, who is also experiencing the same thing. They find each other by accident on one time. They're kind of plummeting to their deaths in a lift, and neither of them is fazed by this. They kind of look at each other and, haven't you heard? We're about to die. And he said, it doesn't matter, I die all the time. And so they know about each other and they want to find each other. Alan, as a character, is very controlling. He's obsessed by order. He's reliving one of the worst days of his life, even though he has to relive these terrible moments, because it's comforting to him to have order, to have to know what's going to happen. He's kind of deliberately following a pattern and not branching out, whereas Nadia is trying different things, is doing different experiences all the time. She isn't sticking to the same routine. Totally different approaches to this. When they find each other, they kind of turn each other's lives somewhat upside down. maybe Nadia turns Alan's life a little bit more upside down. But they throw things and open up different ideas and perspectives and thoughts, and really kind of start to give each other something to think about in terms of who they are and what they're doing with their lives, or what's happening with these lives that they're living. And one of the things we learn about them, and I thought this was fascinating, is that sometimes they just die in weird freak accidents. Something just happens and they die, like being, just accidentally falling over into water, or being electrocuted by a street lamp. Very odd, kind of weird, out of nowhere thing. And it turns out that when one of them dies, the other one automatically dies. So essentially, when one of them either kills himself or does something reckless or puts himself in danger, like for example when Nadia sleeps out overnight with a homeless man and freezes to death, Alan died at the same time, whether he wanted to or not, because they have to die at the same time. They're kind of inextricably linked and connected in that way. And this is fascinating. Really, really interesting to see this happen, and to see how they discover little bits about themselves and how they are coming to terms with what's happening, especially as their world starts to collapse and things go missing and people are removed from their kind of joint experience, and they start to perhaps fear that everything is kind of collapsing and finishing around them. And this kind of brings me to the end. And what I loved most about this is the way it wraps everything up so well. It's got bits of mystery to its ending, but it's also got revelation and nice conclusion as well. And I love that about it. The main thing I like, which is fairly self-explanatory for anyone who's watched this, is that once they kind of realise what's happening between the two of them, they kind of die for the last time, come back, and when they come to find each other, they are no longer finding each other with memories of each other. They no longer have this connection, because the Nadia that's been through all of these deaths, the final time when she comes back, she meets the Alan on the first day when he was about to kill himself. He's not died yet. So she meets Alan before he ever dies for the first time. Same is true of Alan. Alan comes back and he meets Nadia on the first night when she's about to sleep with the gingerbread man. And she doesn't recognise him, doesn't know him, and all of their connection is lost. And through this, you get to see in sort of fantastic split screen style stuff from one character to the other, we see just how far each of them has come, because we can see their old selves and their new selves not facing each other, but facing their kind of renewed alternate counterparts. People who know them better than they know themselves at that moment. And it's a wonderful sort of look at the kind of mental health and how you can be helped or how you can be supported by someone. And each of these kind of evolved versions does what they can to help their more struggling counterparts. And this is where we're brought together at the end of the show, as the kind of split screen gets closer and closer, and you see them coming closer together, and eventually it kind of narrows down into one vision again at this kind of weird carnival Mardi Gras style parade in the middle of the street, which kind of makes no sense, but is, it's like a sort of euphoria moment. It seemed to me, it felt to me like that kind of moment of clarity, that moment of breakthrough. That's what it seemed to me, like mental health breakthrough. And not something I have a personal experience of, but that's kind of felt to me what they were going for. This idea you've turned a corner. There's light at the end of the tunnel. You can see the positive future that might be out there for you. And that kind of celebration and joy and euphoria that comes from that in this sort of street Mardi Gras masquerade style event that's going on. And I loved it. I thought it was wonderful. So what did you think about the TV show? Did you like it? Is it something that you have seen? I hope you have, if you've just gone through that spoiler bit. But, what are your thoughts on it? And is it something that really, really spoke to you? Because like I said, I thought it was fantastic. You can get me in the comment section down below, or through my email address, julietteisnoir@gmail.com, or through my website, julietteisnoir.uk. Please feel free to like, share and subscribe, and I look forward to talking to you again in the next video. Thanks for joining me today, and as ever, bye! Bye!